Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you our Week 10 fantasy football waiver wire pickups. We're here to help you make all the right decisions on who you should add to your roster this week and who you can boot to the curb. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right meow.
Hit that drop. Hello and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin. That is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Man, we're getting right in the middle of the bye week roster manipulation and ongoing COVID crisis. I mean, heck, we are hitting double digits when it comes to weeks. We're already at week 10 somehow, Kyle.
Yeah, somehow,
and that means we have another 4 teams on bye. So we're here to help maneuver.
Not the original 4 teams, though, right?
No,
not
it's
the
not.
original 4 teams.
Not
They've
the
changed
OGs.
that. No,
yeah,
not the
they
OGs.
definitely changed that, and they kind of messed you up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Neither here nor there. Yeah, but we're here to kind of help you maneuver through all of that. How they had to change games and everything like that. So it might have just screwed over your draft. How you decided to do your drafts.
Yeah.
So, but we're here to help you win that championship. And with that, today we are giving you our top waiver ads for Week 10.
Yep.
Kyle, what you got before we hit that?
You know what? Click that subscribe button. We've been getting a bunch of new subscribers. We appreciate it, guys. We punt these episodes out every 5 weeks. Well, we don't really punt them. I mean, that would imply that we're not doing well.
Not every 5 weeks either.
Or, yeah, 5 a week, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Wow. Maybe I am punting it. We do. Yeah, we're returning TDs every time. That's what we're doing.
You're returning what?
TDs. Yeah. No, it doesn't. That's not that close. Anyway, so we're talking about the waiver wire, right? So we're going to talk about guys who are 60% or less rostered in Yahoo leagues. It's just a benchmark we like to use, generally speaking. We'll talk about other leagues as well a little bit, but generally that's probably pretty close to whatever your platform has. Week 10's here. That's what we're dealing with now. We're hoping that you guys had a good week 9. You're able to eke out a win there if it was a tight one going into Monday night. A lot of injuries, a lot of unanticipated stuff going on. And so we're trying to help you out the best we can. If you got any questions, we're always asking. So make sure you throw those questions down below. And I promise I will try to answer faster than every 5 weeks. What I meant to say was we put 5 episodes a week out. That's, right through. So let's dive in headfirst in the shallow end and start talking about our waiver pickups for week 10.
Yep.
And Justin, hit me off the top with that running back.
Well, we talked about this right before we started, man. Even though we had some injuries and everything, I feel like this is still pretty slim pickings out there for week 10. It really is. And that was a natural segue for me to go ahead and go into my running back waiver, which is a non-sexy pick at all. And that's Duke Johnson, Houston Texans. He's only rostered in 16% of leagues, so very likely he's available. And the reason why I think he is a potential waiver wire ad is because of David Johnson's injury, which was a concussion.
Yep.
And so he came in after David Johnson went out. Thank you very much, Deshaun Watson, for just basically causing David Johnson just to get blasted. I don't know if it's a play or not.
I didn't see the play. No, I missed the play, actually.
Terrible throw. Led him way too far, right into a concussion. So, hello, CTE. But Duke Johnson wasn't really that effective, but it was just one of those things where David Johnson gets a huge workload. I think that means Duke Johnson's going to get a big workload. He had 16 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And then he also caught the ball as well.
Carlos Hyde isn't there anymore to do that. So
I can't even speak of the next person up after Duke Johnson. So, but like I said, it's workload. And if David Johnson's out, this is a pretty good matchup this coming week against the Browns for the Texans. So there's not a whole lot of waiver wire running backs out there this week.
No, there's not. So wait, I just want to confirm something with you really quick. So you mean to tell me that Bill O'Brien left the cupboard bare? I mean, there's a lot of things you try to get me to buy, a lot of crazy stuff you try to get me to, you try to sell to me. I don't know about that, man. I mean, how is that even remotely possible that Bill O'Brien, of all people, would have screwed over the roster or mismanaged the roster? I don't get it. I
want to see how many people are on the roster that were actually drafted by the Texans and not traded from a team to the Texans that he gave up a second-round pick.
I mean, the Packers called inquiring about Will Fuller at the trade deadline, and then they're like, "Oh wait, Bill's gone." So we're gonna have to pay fair value for that.
I was thinking like a 6th rounder or something. Yeah. Like that.
Hey man, we got a sack of potatoes, some cheese,
sack of taters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Wisconsin cheese too.
Wisconsin. Yeah. Oh man. Anyway. All right. So my running back, this one's a little bit different, right? This is JD McKissic with Washington. He's only 24% rostered at this moment. He's a fairly high priority add, in my opinion, this week. And that is because Alex Smith goes in.
Check down Charlie.
Oh yeah. Check down Charlie, Alex. Right? Yeah. Check down Alex. And 14 targets went to JD McKissic. I think he touched the ball one other time. And that was it, like 14 targets. And guess what? I think that's probably likely to continue, guys. So downgrade
Kyle Allen
Terry
is
McLaurin.
Most likely out for the rest of the season, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was not a good injury, not a good looking one. So if you manage to grab JD McKissic, I mean, at this point, you're just looking at him probably as a flex player anyway. Hopefully you would be. So I think there's a high likelihood that you could get a flex player out of this guy who's going to be a high upside player. And that's what you kind of want. It's kind of what you need here to make a push for the playoffs if you're in that hunt there. I think that's the kind of guy that you should be trying to roster if you're looking for running backs. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's move on here to wide receiver. Who do you have?
Wide receiver. This is a guy. Hopefully, we're able to sneak one in because he was on bye week last week, and it's Jalen Reagor. Philadelphia Eagles, 24% rostered. So he came back from IR in week 8. I mean, he put up an okay line. He did have a decent amount of targets. He had 6 targets.
I think that's what I like better about it.
It was 6 targets, only one behind Travis Fulgham, who is a fantasy darling now. So that was second in the lead for the Eagles that game. But 6 targets, 3 catches, 16 yards, 1 touchdown, and he also had a 2-point conversion. So he definitely got you some numbers at least. But one of the biggest reasons I like him, Kyle, is the matchup he has his next 3 weeks. The New York Giants, they're 11th at giving up the most points to fantasy wide receivers, and the Browns 4th. And then the Seahawks, good old numero uno.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm liking him even more.
Well, and not only did he have those targets, one of the targets that he didn't catch was a ball batted away in the end zone by the Cowboys in that game. Yeah. And so if that's not batted away because Carson Wentz is a better quarterback, then he has 2 touchdowns on the day, and we're talking more people are talking about him. So what you get the opportunity to do here is capitalize on the fact that he didn't have that second touchdown and that they went on bye immediately after that.
Yep.
So the noise isn't out there. Yep.
Who's your wide receiver?
You know what? This is a guy we talked about in our sleeper episodes. I remember at the end of the summer, and that is Curtis Samuel. This is somebody that we said had the potential here. It depended on what Teddy Bridgewater was going to do, and kind of what our friend Ja Rule, Matt Rule would say about how this offense is going to run. And that's Curtis Samuel. He's rostered right now at 30%. And in my opinion, he is the top priority add for me, in my opinion, this week. I think he's somebody that everybody should run out and grab. He's available in 70% of Yahoo leagues. It's probably roughly the same across majority of platforms. He has 4 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He's just producing now. So he's on the upswing, and his yardage numbers are going up. It's not like Mike Evans with the old deuces. Getting 2 yards, 2 catches, 2 targets, 2 TDs in week 2. It's not that way. So it appears that Teddy Bridgewater has finally figured out that Curtis Samuel exists. And, look, we liked him before the season started for a number of reasons. And those are the reasons that are actually starting to come to fruition and are starting to support his relevancy. I think that more teams are keying on Robbie Anderson. And as a result, he's becoming more and more open. Samuel is. And so, I go check out our sleeper episodes from the end of the summer, right before the season started, and you'll be able to find him down there. We have them all time-stamped in our description.
Yeah. And this is a great callback, Kyle, because you're saying his name right.
Yeah.
This is the guy that we were trying to remember that the other day. It's Curtis Samuel. We kept putting an S at the end of Samuel. Yeah. But we finally found it. So we definitely know he's worth the ad now that we know how to say his name.
Yeah.
Good.
There it is. Yeah.
There it is.
There are some players that have the name Samuels at the end with an S. Some that don't. So, All right, let's hit up tight end. What do you got?
Tight end. Well, it's just the old wasteland of the tight end position in fantasy football this year.
A thin week on a thin position is double thin. So,
and this is a nice thin tight end right here. Jordan Reed, San Francisco 49ers, only rostered in 23% of leagues. I think he came back too early. And they even said that before this game. And it was a Thursday night game. And that was week 9. He came back and he played very limited snaps. And he only got 2 targets, 1 catch, and 3 yards. But
not only that, he came back against a team that doesn't give up points to the tight end.
Yep.
Packers actually, of all the things on defense that are working, that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's really it. So
yeah. It's one of those things where we have a good idea that probably George Kittle is out for the year. He may say differently, but he is most likely out for the year. And Ross Dwelly is not really scaring anybody when it comes to the tight end position. But we've also seen Jordan Reed just this year do well when George Kittle out, where he put up in week 2 8 targets, 7 catches, 50 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So I think it is very possible. I mean, right now, week 10, if you need help at tight end, we're doing some educated dart throws, and this was one of mine.
I was looking at the totals on tight ends. Yeah, total. I was looking at the numbers for tight end on fantasy points up to this point, to just the leaderboard straight up, right? And Travis Kelce in our league is like 35, almost 40 points ahead of every other player.
Is that good?
But then,
I can't tell.
Is that good? I don't know. It's like 30% of his total score ahead of everyone else. But the separation between, I think it was tight end 6 and tight end 12 was less points than the separation between 1 and 2.
Really?
Yeah. And I think from 4 to 8 was separated by less than 3 points or something. So it's just like normal years. And this is why we advocate not spending on a tight end in the draft, really, is because of that sort of stuff. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to talk about the tight end. That you're muted or something. I don't know. I didn't hear you there.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I'm going to talk about who I've got here at tight end, and that is Austin Hooper. He is 41% rostered right now. So it's a little bit on the higher side of what we've been talking about today so far, at least. And so with the loss of Odell Beckham Jr. going forward, I think there's a ton of vacated targets in this offense to be had. The other receivers on the team have not managed to secure them. And so there's really nobody right now who is stepping up and saying, I'm the guy who's going to fill in these targets. And I think that Austin Hooper is a reliable enough pass catcher that at least some of those targets are going to start turning his way. And so I think that that's going to only increase his value. And he's actually been doing pretty well for a little while, believe it or not. I mean, most people are kind of ignoring the Cleveland passing game other than OBJ or Landry. But Hooper's actually been doing pretty well. He's been okay. I mean, relatively speaking towards tight ends this year, it's
right.
Like, a ham sandwich could do well too, right?
Exactly. We don't have that big of a benchmark there, Kyle.
No. But so he is a target hog in the past. Yeah. And so if they do start throwing at him more, he could do pretty well for you. So I think that you have an opportunity to capitalize on an offense that people are kind of ignoring a little bit. Or they're talking about the shiny objects that are there that are available, like Richard and a few other guys, right? So everybody's questioning where to go with it. I think Hooper's the guy in the end. So, all right, QB, what do you got?
I'm going down to Miami, man. I'm picking Tua.
Taking your talents down to South Beach.
I am, and picking the southpaw in Tua. 24% rostered right now. He was asked to do a lot more in that second start, and we saw that, and we saw him, come up and do it. I mean, he had 248 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 7 carries for 35 yards, so he was very clutch in some of the throws he had to make there towards the end of the game that they ended up pulling out from the Cardinals. And he's also very efficient at scrambling. I mean, 5 yards per scramble. But the biggest thing, Tua, learn how to slide, buddy. Learn how to slide, because we want to keep you around. Especially coming off of the injury.
You might be a little bit less wanting to slide on a surgically repaired hip. I mean,
well, it's only one side of the hip.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
really
that's the side he prefers.
It's like you're gonna. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah. So,
but I think he's just going to continue to improve and improve. I think this is actually a pretty decent team around him, even though they've been hit with some injuries here recently. But the next 3 weeks are also pretty good. I like this one. It's LA Chargers giving up the 6th most points to QBs. Denver Broncos 13th, New York Jets 8th. So not a bad next couple weeks here.
Yeah.
That's who I have. Who do you have as your quarterback?
All right, guys, we're going back to the well. This is the 3rd week in a row, I think, here where I have said.
I think eventually they're going to listen.
Somebody will. I don't know. Nobody listened last week because he's still 42% rostered last week and this week. And that's Derek Carr with Las Vegas, guys. 42% rostered. This is the last, now 3 weeks in a row. Go get him if he's available in your league. If you need a QB or you need a backup to fill in on bye weeks, this is a guy that could provide a stable floor for you. He's had a couple down weeks right now, but that's just a slowdown because they focused on the running game more. And as a result, he's just not had the ball in his hand to go and get it done. In addition to that, he's had wide receiver injuries everywhere, and he's just getting some guys back. I think Ruggs is going to go on a tear here soon. Yep. And so I think, well, who's going to do that? Well, it's going to be Derek Carr making that happen. And, Derek Carr was averaging nearly 300 yards a game up until their bye week. And a couple touchdowns. It's slowed down considerably, but that was partly due to weather and then partly due to just game script. So where they are right now, I think that he's a hidden value, a hidden gem for you. And he could be one of those guys who, just like Samuel, if you pick them up, they could deliver you a championship or at least take you there.
Good.
So,
or at least fill in here towards the end of this regular season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So look, these young wide receivers, Pat Mahomes is on bye this week. So if you need a fill-in for Pat Mahomes, I think Derek Carr provides a stable floor with potential high upside for you. Yeah. I don't know what his matchup is this week. I didn't look at that. I don't think it's the greatest, but it's not terrible. And in fact, he's done pretty well against tough competition this year. It's against the teams he's supposed to kill that he hasn't done as well because they've leaned on the run more. Because they realized they could just control game. And that's John Gruden. That's how he's going to play it no matter what. So that's kind of what ends up happening.
Right.
But that's going to do it for the waivers, guys. Make sure that you run to the waiver wire, check if these guys are available, make some decisions. If you have some questions to ask about that, feel free to drop a comment down below or hit us up on Twitter. We've got our handles all around the screen here. Yep. As well as that, we can help you with any other questions that you might have. Make sure that you watch what hits your waiver wire after the waivers have run, because that is the moment that you might be able to grab somebody who is highly valuable, who got dropped because there are some significant buys happening this week. And so people are trying to make some room. So you could find something that could help you out toward the end of the season here, guys. So make sure you do that.
Try to get cute. Someone's going to try to get cute and drop someone, try to hide someone on the waiver wire. Don't let that happen.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw the week 8 waiver wire episode. Week 9 waiver wire episode onto the screen here for you. And feel free to check out our prior waiver wire episodes, get a couple ideas for names and stuff. And let us know if there's anybody that you have questions about. We'll answer for you. Make sure you subscribe as well. Click the bell so you're notified every time that we upload the podcast. Thanks for being fans of the Upside. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See you guys.